What up, my peoples? Good morning. It's raining today. Come out to make my video, do my thing, get my groove on. One thing I wanted to comment about is there's an internal conversation that I have with myself that I wanted to share on the outside so you can see how my mechanism works. And hopefully it'll help you, because every day I make a solid commitment to be the best me that I can be, and that's because I can do that. I realize that I have the ability at any time to summon any emotion, any energy that is really on me to be ready. And when I'm not ready, when I admit that I'm not ready, I find the energy to be ready upon that confession. So what I want to bring up is that all of us have had opportunities in our life where someone was supposed to support us on an emotional level and they did not do it. And those incidents do something what I call put smudges on your personality. Glitches in the program, like on the Matrix when they say, oh, there was a glitch in the program. Because an example is being presented to you on a regular basis that 1 + 1 = 2. And you're accepting that as law, and then 1 + 1 = 5. And you do not know how to process that information, because it's not because 1 + 1 really = 5. But it's that people are playing by those rules. I'm going to give you for an example. Let's say your dad is supposed to take you to school every morning, and one day he just doesn't. And so you're playing as if, you got ready, you got dressed, you're playing your game, because he impressed upon you, oh, you're supposed to be ready for school. School is important. So you're doing your part, and he doesn't do his part. And so what that does is that leaves an impression on you that somewhere in the mix something is amiss. Either it was you did something wrong or they did something wrong, and you make a mental impression of that, whether accurate or not, so that you can deal with that situation. And so in life we have all these little mental impressions, which is our way of crying out for some hurt. But it's not an actual cry. It's like someone hammering my big toe and I never got to say ouch. I just dealt with it. And then people come up to you and say, what's wrong with your face? That's a 1 + 1 = 5 scenario that I'm painting, because they're not acknowledging the fact that you're in pain, and then they're expecting you to manage something that you may not have the coping skills to manage. So in our childhood, we develop all these childish coping skills, and then we carry them into our adulthood. So we get with a childhood coping skill, we get a childhood outcome. But we're an adult. So it's a mismatch. It's a 1 + 1 = 5 situation. So what I find, and I'm not saying I'm immune from this, what I find is there are moments where I feel discouraged and I feel a physical pain in my body, in my heart, in my head. But I find if I keep playing, if I keep doing the do, and connect with where I want to go, not where I am, that I make it, that the pain goes away, that the pain comes and then subsides, and then I'm good money. But it's a process. So for us to overcome our past, there's a process in the present that we can do, which is confronting those unspoken hurts. Not speaking on it, but confronting that energy is there, and that energy is still alive. It may be 3 years old when something happened, and we still responded to it as a 3-year-old. But when we confront that that's how we feel, the steam, the power, the recognition from way, way back, it dissipates. And it may take us hundreds and hundreds of times where those situations don't mean anything. It could be where, somebody slapped you in the back of the head. So now you got to think about the back of your head. One thing I always see, and ladies, you really need to address this. Women who feel they have a big behind, take their shirt and wrap it around their waist like a flag, like a big behind flag, thinking that nobody sees my behind. And it might have been some incident in the past that somebody said something about you and you felt a certain kind of way about it. Whatever behind you have, that's the behind God gave you. Big, small, indifferent, it doesn't matter. That's what he gave you. You rock what he gave you. Why? Because he gave it to you. That's it. It don't need no explanation. But our mind is a meaning-making machine. Everything got to mean something. This means that. And if left alone by itself, like what they say, an idle mind is the devil's workshop, that's what happens. So that all of these situations that should have been addressed by some authority that would have shut off that idle mind. But instead, our mind is running and just making this mean that and that means that. And then we decide that we want to step out on our own and do our own business. And all of this stuff comes up. And this is the stuff that stops us from being successful. We could be with a program that's worth nothing and bring the fire to that program. And people will enroll in it because you're doing it on the strength of that and be successful. So I said all that to say this. I realize that there are glitches in my personality. And I realize that it's not my fault, but my responsibility. And the reason why I say it's not my fault, because if I say it's my fault, there's a punishment that's attached to that. Now I'm stuck into what they call a duality scenario. Meaning, if I got up, I gotta have down. If I got left, I gotta have right. I just let it be what it is. I don't know why I'm hurt, but I'm hurt. But you know what? If I address this hurt, it's gonna go away. And so I use that method of confrontation of my own feelings and not downing myself, but acknowledging that that feeling is there. It's like a child in me that needs to be seen. And I say, I see you. And then the child's good. It's good. It got the attention that it needed. So the attention that you didn't get as a child, you need to give that to yourself in these situations of pain and hurt, and acknowledge what's going on and give yourself space to dissipate that. We don't do that work. We need to do that work. We become our own therapists when we acknowledge our own feelings, because that's what people are doing when they sit and they spend thousands and thousands of dollars. They're sitting to get someone to listen to, acknowledge the fact that they got a pain. And that's it. That's it. So, and when you start doing that for yourself, you become more empathetic for other people's dysfunction. You release them as you release yourself. I'm going to end with this. I've been in all kind of relationships where I always would play out, all the way out. And I would be with somebody who would motivate me to play out for whatever reason. And I noticed that those people would still cheat on me. And when I would catch them, I'd be like, okay, whatever. And I would be whatever for two reasons. One, you cannot be all things to one person. It's impossible. You're not God. And two, I'm not going to let some situation that someone else did hinder me from being the best me. So I forgave them for some real selfish reasons, because I didn't want to be hindered by that situation. But that's some work that I did way in the past, because I had a problem with forgiving people. So I got good at forgiving people because I had a problem with it. So it's like I stayed behind to do detention for this forgiveness thing, to where it still bothers me that the person cheated, but I'm like, I'm good with it. And they feel some kind of way that I'm not broken up. But that's on them. You know what I'm saying? That's their scenario. That's their crutch, their glitch. And I really do have empathy for them, because I'm like, damn, you had everything and you threw it out, you walked out of heaven. Wow. But I have to deal with like all the emotion around that. That's my responsibility, to me, to be a healthy human being. So I just wanted to add that in, you know. So deal with them ghosts, deal with those emotions, so that you can have energy, emotional energy, to put into your business, because that's what people want to see. They want to see you in your business. And if you're emotionally unavailable, it's not going to happen. Peace.